morning, curling world. It is 9 o'clock on Sunday morning here at the Curling Masters in CHAMPERY World's Curling Tour event. You are watching the final practice throws before our featured semi-final here. We have 4 countries represented by the 4 different teams in the semi-finals, and in our featured game this morning it is Team Ramsfjell. And brace yourselves, people. Their opposition this morning, it's them. It's the most popular man in curling. It's Yves Stokker's team. My name is Lorna Rettig, and I will be hosting us through our featured semi-final here in CHAMPERY. It is the Norwegians who will be setting off first. Stokker's team have last stone here in this first end. Just waiting for the sign from the ice official. Our other semi-final this morning, over on the other sheet, that is Team Daniel Neiman from Sweden, and they are up against Team Valter Giskens from Netherlands. So we have 2 real tasty semi-finals out there this morning. The winners of our semi-finals here, they will play each other in the final at 12:30 European. Guaranteed 2 tip-top curling games from CHAMPERY this Sunday morning. So let's say hello to our 2 teams here in the semi-final, wearing white uniforms, playing red stones. Setting off first, it is Team Ramsfjell of Norway. Lead thrower there is Gaute Nepstad. Second thrower, Bendik Ramsfjell. Third thrower, Martin Cezaker. Fourth and skip is Magnus Ramsfjell. Opposing them, it's the team from Switzerland. Lead thrower, whom we're about to see. Coming up on your screen will be Felix Eberhard. There he goes, his first stone in this game this morning. Second thrower is Simon Glure. Third and skip is Yves Stokker. Fourth thrower is Jan Hess. Nice precise throw already for Felix this morning. It's Stokker's team who have last stone. So their easiest way to points is indeed to keep the play over on the side of the sheet there, and hopefully leave Jan Hess a nice big space in the middle to throw his final stone. So I'm expecting the Stokker army to show up and support the team for this game. You may have noticed, viewer, that I do have my little favourites, and yes, Team Stokker is really one of them. A pretty conservative start here in this first end. Nobody wanting to get into a pickle first thing. We saw the Norwegians starting off with a stone straight into the house, and Yves Stokker not messing about, deciding, yeah, let's just play conservatively. It's only the first end here. Now both of these teams, they've made this kind of stage of the competition before in World Curling Tour events, but neither of these teams have won this competition before. Both of them would be delighted to make the final. In fact, the only team who has won this competition before, that is Team Giskens over on the other sheet. They won this tournament in 2019. And some big names on the trophy there. Last year's winners, also from Norway, was not Magnus Ramsfjell's team, it was Team Stefan Wallstad. They're not here this year, but we watched them win the competition in Baden right at the start of the season. I'm sure they're happy that their countrymen are doing the job. But ooh, an early mistake from Stocker's team. Uncharacteristic miss from Simon there. And an early chance for Norway to put a bit of pressure on. Second thrower, Bendik Ramsfjell. I have been told that my Norwegian pronunciation needs a bit of practice. I think it got a 3 out of 10 last time. So do help me out if I can do better. But a nice throw from Bendik there. You can see good separation between those reds. Difficult for Simon Glure to get rid of both of these. And Jan Hess sweeping to try to encourage that stone to curl. Looks like it's curling now. That nice gentle weight gives the stone a chance to catch the curl and move that red out of danger. So good recovery from Simon. Still a bit of a dangerous guard out front there. But Jan Hess awfully steady on that fourth stone. If he has to draw to the pin, I'm sure he will. If you want to say hello in the chat this morning, everyone welcome in the virtual club here. I can see Matilda there. I think she's typically a Scandinavian supporter. I think Matilda's normally cheering for Sweden, so she'll be keeping eyes on Daniel Lehmann's game. We'll be keeping up with them as well. Maybe cheering for the Norwegian team out there this morning. And there's Joel as well. Thank you for your nice words, Joel. So if you want to say hi, tell us who you're supporting. As mentioned, I told the boys to alert the Stocker army, and I'm expecting good support for the team today. So first throw for the big guy. In this semi-final. We did watch them last year at this stage. And they got dumped out in the semi-final by the eventual winners from Norway, so I'm sure they will be keen for revenge this time. Nice throw from Eves. That yellow just rolling a little further than he wanted, but what they are doing, again, is keeping play away from that centre guard, make it harder for the Norwegians to put pressure on them. You can see both teams really exchanging just these gentle weights. You don't need a huge weight at this. It's very important where your own stone ends up. And could this be a let-off for the Swiss? If that stone rolls out. Oh, it's just hanging on. Lucky you, Norway. If that stone had rolled out, then all of that good work that they'd done after that mistake from the Swiss would be for naught. But lucky you, Norway. It's still hanging on. But both of those reds open. Double takeout could be available. And again, that controlled weight. We don't need to throw a huge weight at this. We want to give the sweepers a chance to help the stone. The sweeper standing off this one, so not curling as much as they'd wanted. And indeed just finding a nose hit there. So still chance for Norway to bring that guard back into play, put a bit of pressure on. So first throw of this semi-final for fourth and skip Magnus Ramsfjell. This Norwegian team, they just sort of quietly go around beating everyone. That isn't going to sit now, that red, and that does give the Swiss an opportunity to just keep everything tidy now in this end. So a half shot there from Magnus. But we say at my club here in Switzerland, Weg ist Weg, that means gone is gone. So no yellows, no points, and no harm done for the Norwegians. First throw for the Swiss fourth thrower, Jan Hess. Again, just that controlled way. Simon Glure just sweeping a little bit to try to catch the curl, but it sounds like everything fine. Ooh, just about catching an edge of that Jan Hess. And that's a bit of a half shot from Jan, because as we can see now, the Norwegians with Magnus's final stone, he can put pressure on Jan Hess's final stone if Magnus just sinks a stone right in behind that red that's been dangerously waiting for most of the end. That will put big pressure on the last throw in this first end. And good target practice for Magnus. No harm done if he doesn't make this shot, really. There's no other yellows hanging around. So nice little training shot here. Just make sure he's still got tee weight in his pocket. Hands it over to the sweepers. So the two of them just keeping that path clean always. That was the first purpose of sweeping when you played out in the frozen pond, was very much to remove sticks and stones from the path, and that is still the first reason we sweep, is to remove any little pieces of fluff or something that might be on the ice. So lovely weight from Magnus, he'll be pleased with that. Not quite finding the line that they wanted, so I think Jan Hess will be able to see, well, I was going to say most of the stone. I think he can see at least half, so I think we shall see similar kind of weight that he had last time. And this time, he'll be quite happy if this stone rolls out. They don't really want to score one. As we've said, scoring one with your last stone, if you only do that, then you're not going to win the game only scoring one. But, oh dear, I'm not sure he's going to score anything with this. And he's gone past everything. So Magnus' stone good enough to steal one in this first end. So a bit wild from Jan. That was heavier than his first shot. Didn't give it so much of a chance to curl, and just scooting past the outside. So a little bit for nothing there. A surprise steal to the Norwegians. And after one end here in our featured semi-final, it is Team Ramsfjell from Norway 1, Team Stocker from Switzerland 0.
Kan du spille åtteren, Gaute? Jeg kan ta åtteren. Det har gått rettere begge gangene nå. Kom fire. Ja. Jeg kommer åtteren, så vet du det.
If you are just joining us, good morning to you. We are watching the featured semi-final here at the Curling Masters in CHAMPERY 2022 edition. It is a World Curling Tour event, and we have two veteran teams, really, of World Curling Tour. We are watching Team Magnus Ramsfjell of Norway, who have just stolen a point in the first end, from Team Yves Stocker from Switzerland. So needing Stocker Army to show their support. Now let's see, so now a change of tack. We saw Stocker just removing that stone in the house in the first end from Norway. but it looks like going for the more aggressive throw in the second end and throwing up a guard instead. They will be eager to grab back hopefully 2 points in the second end. And super start from Felix Eberhard. It was a Norwegian team who won this competition last year. That was Stefan Wallstad's team. And I'm sure Magnus Ramsfjell's team would love to keep flying the flag for Norway here. Neither of these teams have won this competition before. Both fairly experienced in quarters and semi-finals. But it would be new territory to be the champions here. Over on the other sheet, we have Team Daniel Niemann from Sweden, and they are playing Team Wouter Huskens from Netherlands, and Wouter's team, they have won this competition in 2019. They're the only team in the competition who have won it before. And we watched their quarter-final last night. Very strong performance from them against young Team Ribotta from Italy. And that is a real classy start from Felix Eberhard for Team Stocker. You can see beautiful corner guard and then sinking a stone right behind it, and Magnus Ramsfjell immediately recognising that danger. The guard out front, remember though, the guard out front is still protected by free guard zone. This is the 5th stone coming from Bendik Ramsfjell, and if this guard would go out of play, it will be replaced. And the sweeper's on it quickly. So he has found that yellow guard, but I think he's going to be lucky. And that's okay, you can move the guard, it just can't go out of play. And that's a very elegant shot there from Bendik Ramsfjell. But of course, still a guard out there. Yeah, the question is, we still want to use that corner guard. There are two ways of doing it. You could throw a straight draw, sink it straight in behind, just like we saw from Felix, or you can do more like a hit and roll. Again, we'll see a controlled way. It sounded like a 10-second stone they were talking about, and that's a stone that will take 10 seconds to travel between the two hog lines. And remove one of the reds and hopefully roll in behind the corner guard. And he's not far off. That's a nice throw from Simon Gluer. That's a pity, that yellow still open. Definitely double take-out possibility here for Norway. Again, not such a huge throw. There may be looking more for the hit and roll, or oh no, he has got the pair of them. Lovely throw from Bendik Ramsfjell. He's having a happy start to his Sunday morning. This end then pretty much looking like someone's going to score. The blank still possible. But Yves Stocker's team, nothing if not flat out aggressive all the time. going for, again, that sort of gentle hit and roll. You need to remove this red and roll, 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 and oh, again, just not quite finding enough roll. And Magnus can see all of that yellow. So the Swiss struggling a little bit in these early ends to build an end. Not really getting into a pickle, but yeah, not quite stamping their authority with last stone. The Norwegians just playing nice, simple stuff, keeping things tidy.
Yep. Yep. Hard. Hard for Ulf. Nivå, gå for nose. Yep. 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 Yep.
And oh golly, that's a great throw from Martin Sezaka. He does get just the tiniest of rolls, but scoots himself straight in behind everything. Could we see a double takeout option here from the big guy? You can see all of the front red there, so definitely is possible. And he looks big on TV, Yves Stocker, and he really is big in real life as well. Got huge levers, so I'm sure we shall see a big drive out with this stone. Yes, no sweeping, normally a happy call, and he does get the pair of them. Lovely throw from Yves there, really tidying up all that danger. So the blank comes back into play. As I said, Yves Stocker's team are almost hilariously aggressive at times. They're just never scared of putting more stones in play. So even if Norway remove this yellow, as I suspect they will, there will still be that guard out front. And I'm sure we shall see Team Stocker being unable to resist the temptation of using that guard. First things first. Norway needs to remove the yellow. They do, and now you can see there are a pair of guards out front there. And Yves Hess happily signalling that we can play the aggressive stone here. We were saying last night that you can see here in CHAMPERY we play in the arena. And so there are seats around and the ceiling's much higher than at the curling club. And it can just make little changes with the ice. No, well, not so much normally, but this ice is used for different things. So sometimes skating, sometimes hockey, this weekend curling. And the curling ice, not there all season, that only went down earlier on this week. And yeah, it can just cause slightly different ice conditions. Oh gosh, this isn't it. Oh dear. You can see that was a lovely weight, but that's definitely not what he wanted to do. So after all that hard work to clear up the mess, he's accidentally created a new one. Not crisis stations yet. There's a lot of room still for Yves Hess to draw to the forefoot with his last shot. And Yves Hess, all nice and smiley as usual. If he does get stressed, Jan, if Jan Hess ever gets stressed, I'm not sure I've ever seen it. And if you maybe caught a glance over on the left side of the screen, over on our other semi-final, that is Team Daniel Niemann, and they are playing Team Vato Huskins from Netherlands. You can see there that was 1 point to red, and that is 1 point to Daniel Niemann's team from Sweden. Only 2 teams in the competition undefeated so far. That is Daniel Niemann and Yves Stocker. And Daniel Neyman's team also played quite a lot of World Curling Tour events now. But a little bit uncharted territory for them as well, but they've been having a real strong performance this weekend. They had a real close quarter-final yesterday evening against Jan Eseley's team from Switzerland, but really controlling the final ends of that game in a real strong performance to win their place in their semi-final. And unfortunately for the Swiss, that was a really nice throw there from Magnus Ramsfjell. But not too far, not too big of a distance to drive that yellow back onto potentially both reds. Oh, whoops, you are correct. Virtual clubbers. My apologies, it is not Daniel Neyman, it is Fredrik Neyman. Thank you for correcting me. A lot of talented Neymans in that family. And a talented throw there from Jan Hess, indeed just driving the yellow neatly back onto the red. And Jan Hess surely facing a forced draw with his final stone, but important is that he has plenty of space to do that. The Norwegians won't really be expecting to pick up more points in this end, but as we saw in the first end, all they wanted to do was put pressure on that final throw, and it worked. They will be interested then in putting a second red into play here. And the conversation will be about where can we put this second red that is most awkward for the Swiss. So, not particularly awkward there. I'm not sure if that's exactly where they wanted it. That red, Jan Hess will be able to see all of it. Yeah, we can see all of that red, and it should be fairly straightforward to play again. Nice controlled way. We need this yellow to hang around, otherwise that red just in front, that's the red that will count for a point. So we'll see a controlled throw here from Jan Hess. Ooh, did he? I think he might have even got a happy little rub on that first red there, but job done. That's the damage avoided, and a nice concrete score of 1 for the Swiss, and it's back as you were. A score of 1 in the second end. That means that in our featured semi-final here in CHAMPERY, we're watching Team Magnus Ramsfjell from Norway. They're playing Team Yves Stocker from Switzerland, and it is a score of 1 each. Felix Eberhard leading us off in end 3. And just in the bottom of our screen there, you can say thank you to our sponsors who make this a very attractive competition for the big teams. The two semi-finalists here, they will pick up a nice prize of 2,950 Swiss francs, so almost 3,000 Swiss francs. And that will be a big help for some competition expenses for the rest of the season. Even just the food bill, these boys eat a lot. We always say that the last place you want to go out is the semi-final, because you didn't manage to get to the final, and you didn't even get to have a bit of a glass of wine or a beer on Saturday night, because you had to get up early on Sunday morning. We're back to how we were in the first end then. It is, sorry, no, actually, it's for the first time in the game, it is the Norwegians now who have last stone. And we saw typically aggressive stuff from Stocker throwing up the guard there. The Norwegians going straight round it. And the Swiss will now just try to follow that. Remember, we don't mind giving up one if we don't have last stone, normally speaking. And that's what Felix is going for here. He just wants to follow that red. Oh, I think they took their eyes off that, the sweepers. They could have maybe kept trying to move that stone. And ideal was to just set that stone right in front of the red and really cut down that scoring area. We don't mind if Norway score one, but we want to make it very difficult for them to score two. And we saw Walter Hussen's team last night really calling the Italians' bluff on this one and saying, okay, we're going to get to the centre first. Taking a bit of a gamble, because the risk is, yes, you can get to the centre first, but you can suddenly find that scoring area very small, very quickly. But this is nice from Gaute Nepstad. Lovely throw from him. And definitely, I think it's the Norwegians who have had the brighter start here this morning. Just a little bit more precise with their stone placement so far. And now Simon Glure trying to drive that yellow back, but he's just gone past both of them, and he will have left still a yellow out front. There you go. So life not getting any easier for the Swiss at the moment. We started off with 3 groups of 5 teams here in CHAMPERY. And we've had representation from 8 countries. You can see in the semi-finals, we have Norway, Switzerland, Sweden and Netherlands. And we have also had representation from Germany, Scotland, France, Italy, and we were delighted to welcome a team all the way from Kazakhstan. Very young team, most of them still juniors, under 21. And very happy they travelled a long way to support our competition. Oh, and he's got it this time. Superb shot from Simon. Removing that red from the forefoot, really opening up that scoring area. He does leave a yellow out front, but that was a real long promotion take out there. That was a long way between the yellow out front and those reds, so real super stuff from him. We had teams from Italy and Scotland in the quarterfinals last night, so we really had a whole lot of countries represented, which we love to see. It's another nice, careful throw from Norway, from Ramsfjell. And Joel was saying that Stocker's in all kinds of trouble at the moment, and unfortunately, I agree with you. I've been so excited to finally get to watch a Stocker game this season, and maybe the pressure is getting to them.
Ja, ik vind het niet goed in dat innen blijft. Ja, dat muss uns erst mal. Aber ich sehe ein Fünftel bis Sechstel. Das geht schon. 11. Was ist 11,5?
Yeah, the problem at the moment is that it is not Eve Stocker who has last stone in this third end, and there is a whole heap of reds lying around, so this better be good. Yeah, that's nice. That deals with the immediate danger. That red at the front, that was the dangerous one. Those other two reds still lying first and second shot. They're still closest to the centre, but they are both behind T-line now. So that's nice stuff from Eves there. Still quite a lot of work to do to get out of trouble in this third end though. Garten Ibstad was straight onto that sweep. That looks pretty good for this red throw. Oh, it did need swept all the way though, but that's found a very nice spot there in the front. Not sure if the Swiss can see much of that red now. That might be the better idea, even though those reds are behind T. Yeah, very difficult to do anything about that red. Just thrown by Martin Sezaker.
Oder roll to freeze, wenn das möglich ist, noch besser fast. Ja, ich finde der besser. Ja, wie muss ich treffen? Ja, so, das rollt. Fast 2 Drittel.
So a bit of damage limitation here. Those two reds both open. And sounds like they're either going for the hit and roll to neutralise both of them, or maybe there's a double takeout available. Big sweep from Felix Eberhard. And again, just not quite finding as much roll as they wanted. Pressure building for the Swiss in this end. Norway maybe sensing blood a little bit here. And for our Swedish fans, I can update you that over on sheet C, with the other semi-finals taking place, that was a blank end in the second. which is unusual because Vartra's team also typically aggressive from stone number 1. But that was a blank end in the second over there, and that means that it is 1-0 still to Fredrik Niemann from Sweden. Right, lads, I reckon you've got one chance here to make a safety shot. I think this time they've got no choice. I don't think the hit and roll to the other red, I don't think that's going to go. I think they need to find now the inside of this red stone and roll towards the centre in behind everything, and that will still leave Norway a bit of space. So yeah, they just want to curl just towards the inside of the red, roll a little bit towards that centre line. Norway will have space to follow it in, but we need to do something about all of these reds hanging around here, or Magnus Ramsfjell will be picking up a hatful. Well, the team on blue are sweeping to encourage the stone to curl. But not quite finding the roll. That's what's missing from their game a little bit just now, Stocker's team. They're throwing pretty accurately, but not finding the rolls that they need, and unfortunately Norway doing that a bit better at the moment. And oh golly, if this stone works out, Jan Hess is going to be looking at a howler with his last throw. So big opportunity here for Magnus Ramsfjell to put huge pressure on the Swiss. But nobody finding that roll just yet. We've got one more shot at this, boys. Yeah, the other possibility is to just try to keep this a bit safe. So if you just dropped one right in front of that red, instead of punching that red through, if you just put one right in front there, as Jan is indicating, really try to freeze onto that red. That would make it very difficult for Norway to score a second point, so they would be accepting giving up one, which, as we said, we don't mind. And that would force the Norwegians onto the anti-clockwise handle, and I see them, it looks like the pair of them talking about the crazy aggressive shot, and get Eve Hess to go around the anti-clockwise handle first and sink one in behind everything. And I feel like sometimes this can cost them points, this team, because they're so comfortable with the aggressive game that sometimes that can be a bit of a rush of blood to the head. I think I'd rather see them do something about this red, yeah. Stick to the clockwise handle. And let's see where the brush goes. Neither team really finding much of a roll and running out of space, actually, to get to the inside of that stone and get a roll behind the centre. So yeah, maybe just more like a freeze would be good. Big shot here for the Swiss. And what a shot from Jan Hess. That should definitely give the Norwegians a bit of a tougher last throw here. Golly. How much of that yellow can Magnus Ramsfjell see? Superb effort from Jan Hess. So yeah, they don't mind giving up 1 point. In fact, I think they'll be delighted if they give up only 1 point here, the Swiss. Yeah, you may as well go for it, Magnus. If you can just catch an edge of that, they could be picking up a huge score of 3 here, if not potentially 4. So we may as well go for this shot. There's no risk to this shot is the point here. You can't do any more damage, so you may as well have a go. And he's hardly missed a stone so far, Magnus Ramsfjell, this morning. I wouldn't be surprised to see him make this nicely. Starting to curl now, clean, clean, that's a happy sound. Oh gosh, and he's got it. Wow, so tremendous stuff from the Norwegians, and that is a big score of 3 in this third end. Happy Norwegian sounds all round. And quite right, so yeah, pick yourselves up there, boys. Bit of work to do for the Swiss now. It's only the third end. We've still plenty of ends left, but that is a huge score of 3. Really well played end from the Norwegians. 8 out of 8, lovely stones for them. And big score of 3 makes the score after 3 ends here in our featured semi-final in CHAMPERY. It is Team Magnus Ramsfjell from Norway 4, Team Yves Stocker from Switzerland 1.
Stein stoppa litt mer I forrige omgang, tror jeg. Inn igjen, bra. Ung gå med. Ja. Den som rett å stoppe mye, det sjelden kombo, faktisk.
We are approaching half-time in our featured semi-final at the World Curling Tour event. It's the Curling Masters here in CHAMPERY 2022 edition. We're in end 4. We will play 8 ends. If scores are tied after 8 ends, we will play an extra end. We need to have a winner this morning. The winner will go on to play in the final at 12:30 European time. And as you can see, we are still recovering from a huge end there for Norway. Huge score of 3, really 8 beautiful shots from Norway, 8 out of 8, and tricky stuff as well. They had to be very precise with their throws, with their stone placement, and rewarded with a huge score of 3. So the Swiss boys will be interested in bouncing straight back with hopefully a score of 2. And in contrast, the Norwegians, they are quite happy to play everything very conservatively. No need for the Norwegians to take risks. They've got a big cushion of 3 points at the moment. Big pressure then on Felix Eberhard to set up these ends for the Swiss team. He put up a lovely corner guard already, covering the corner of the sheet. And we saw him do this a couple of ends ago as well, Felix Eberhard, and I think he's done it again. He's sunk a beautiful stone in behind it. So, okay, I've done my job. Now it's up to the other 3. Good news for Norway, if you're a Norway fan. The degree of difficulty of their shots, pretty straightforward at the moment. They've got a cushion of 3. They don't need to take any risks. They don't need to be aggressive. I'm just putting a nice solid guard out front there. Asking the question of the Swiss now. So free guard zone is over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots in play. You may have sneaked a peek at the scoreboard over on the other semi-final. Team Niemann from Sweden against Team Kruskins from Netherlands, and it was a steal of 1 to the young Swedes. So they are now 2-0 ahead of the Dutch boys. They are also now in their 4th end. The Norwegians wondering whether to put the guard back again, keep the Swiss busy out there, or start removing guards. I do think this is the right shot. It's only the guards that can hurt them. Now, this is a familiar situation, viewers, isn't it? We saw something a lot like this back in the 2nd end. And that only ended up in a score of 1 for the Swiss in that end. They will be keen to improve on that here in the 4th. We saw something a little bit similar last night, actually, in our featured game. That was the Dutch boys, Wouter Huskins' team against Fabio Robota's team from Italy. At pretty much this stage in the game, actually, as well. And we were saying how important it was that the Italians would score something, so that it was 4-1 to the Dutch boys against the Italians. And we were saying what a difference it would be that the Italians would score, but it was actually the Dutch who stole one to make the score 5-1, and that was really the start of the beginning of the end for the Italian boys, and we don't want to see that happen here. Important that the Swiss can put something on the board in this 4th end. This stone was hurling out of hand. They were on this sweep immediately here, the Norwegians. And I think that might be the first mistake we've seen from Norway this morning. You need to take advantage of this immediately, boys. A bunch of reds hanging around there, but all fairly close together. And 2 little yellows hanging on away from the centre line. So even though it maybe looks a little bit dire, this is actually not at all a bad situation for the Swiss. They have 2 yellows hanging on far away from each other, behind a little bit of cover over there on the right of our screen. And finally getting a mistake from the Norwegians, and now they need to capitalise on that immediately. They're not getting many mistakes out there from Norway this morning, and they need to jump on any mistake, any little half shot. First throw in the 4th end for the big guy. Neatly folding all 8'6" of him. into that nice, really stable delivery. And again, important here is where this yellow lands. We know we want the reds to go. Important is where the yellow lands as well. And that is good so. You can see just building up some yellows now. One of those reds is behind T-line, the other red's wide open. Magnus just indicating that it's still red line 1 and 2. This situation building nicely for the Swiss. It's a Swiss with last stone. And we need to make good use of it here in this fourth end. Those yellows dangerous for Norway. And that's exactly what the Swiss want to happen. That's why they've set it up like that. Again, trying to get a mistake out of Norway, trying to find the wrong angle. Squirt those yellows back onto the reds by mistake. Okay. So just removing the one yellow. I think they were more interested in removing 2. Dominic, that's the spirit. Dominic saying, Stocker for president. Fully agree. That's the kind of spirit we need. We need to get back into this game here. So just that one little yellow there just now. But dangerous, that yellow. Important decision here, though. We know that Norway is simply going to keep removing the yellows, and what we want to do is make sure that Norway can't remove both yellows at once, and we also want to give ourselves a chance to score 2 points at the end. Therefore, 2 tasks at the moment. We need to, at some point, we need to do something about those 2 reds. And we also need to keep that yellow in play and get a second yellow in there somewhere as well. Yeah, I wonder if playing on your own yellow, just pushing that yellow back a little bit could be a nice safe shot, but yeah, I feel like I want to do something about at least one of those reds as well and give Jan Hess a realistic chance to score 2 with his final throw. This is the shot they were looking at first of all. Just to get a second yellow into play here, safely. They want to have 2 yellows in the front of the house ahead of T-line, make it awkward for Norway to remove them. And then Jan Hess betting that he can make a double takeout on those reds with his final throw. So after much discussion then, Yves Stocker's second throw in this fourth end. That's pretty nice, yeah. I think difficult to remove both those yellows. I think if that red on the right of our screen, if that wasn't there, the double takeout would be possible. But at the moment, if you go for the double takeout, you're jamming the yellow straight onto that red. So that's a really nice result for the big man. And giving Jan Hess a realistic chance to keep those yellows in play to score hopefully 2 points in this fourth end. Much discussion again. We do not have time clocks at this event, and that's really a resource issue. You need a lot of volunteers if you want to have time clocks for the games. We don't play with time clocks, but we do encourage the boys to get on with it. I'm kind of grinding to a halt out there at the moment, but this is an important end, as you can see. 2 dangerous yellows in play there, and we saw what a difference it can make to the game. We saw that last night in a very similar position. It was 4-1 to the Dutch boys over the Italians, and the Italians just couldn't quite get anything out of the fifth end, and it went to 5-1, and that was really starting to be too difficult at this level to get back from, and that's what Norway will have in mind. We have 4 stones to come in this fourth end. 2 for Norway, 2 for Switzerland. And you do feel that this is quite a pivotal end here. You feel like the Swiss really need to grab a point or 2 back here.
Whoa. Clean. Whoa. Clean. Yeah. Yes. Get away.
And that's a nice shot. That makes the double takeout a bit more difficult now. On the 2 reds. I fear this could be the longest end of the weekend so far at this rate, but again, we need to think the next 3 stones through. So not only what do we want to do with this yellow, we want to remove a red, roll to a good place, then we can assume what Norway's shot will be. Then Norway will try to play this, and then hopefully the Swiss will have a chance to score 2. So that's what all the jibber jabber's for, is where can we put this yellow that means Norway don't have a good chance to remove them both. I said at the beginning of the game that I've rarely, if ever, seen Jan Hess look like he's stressed or feeling the pressure, but certainly a lot of pressure on him just now. I'm not quite sure what the final decision is here. They were talking about the possibility of a double takeout. Oh, let's see. I think they were looking for the double takeout there. They were trying to pick off that red at the back of the forefoot as well and give themselves more options when it comes to the final throw. You can see what a difference that would have made if you'd had those 2 yellows and no red stone in the forefoot there. I things would be looking a lot more cheerful. And if you're Norway, really just a sort of careful take out here. Just remove that yellow just close to Gaute Nebstad's broom. Just carefully remove that, and then I'm not sure there will be a throw or a shot for the Swiss to make 2. And lovely throw again from Magnus Ramsfjell. He hasn't put a foot wrong or a stone wrong all morning. And after all that effort, unfortunately for the Swiss, there is no shot available to score 2 points here. But very important that they score 1. And we will see Jan Hess coming down the anti-clockwise handle. There he can see all of that red. But unfortunately, after all that effort, no chance to score 2. They will have to be happy with 1. So we want a nice solid throw here from Jan Hess. Let's steady the ship, get that point safely on the board. Simon Glure straight onto the sweep, doesn't want it to over curl here. There's plenty to crash into if it catches too much curl. But everybody sounds pretty happy with it, and nice careful throw from Jan Hess, good job. And better stuff from the Swiss, but still not finding too many mistakes from the Norwegians. But nice steady throw there to get that point safely on the board. And at the halfway point in our featured game here in CHAMPERY, in our semi-final, it is Team Magnus Ramsfjell from Norway 4, Team Yves Stocker from Switzerland 2. We are halfway through our featured semi-final at the World Curling Tour event here in CHAMPERY. It is the Curling Masters. And we're just saying thank you to our sponsors there, who make this a really attractive event. And if you haven't been to CHAMPERY, well, firstly, you're very welcome to come join us here at the Curling Club at the Palladium. And also, it's a very nice town. It's a nice little mountain town up here in the valley. And competition chief Jacques has, as always, asked the tourist office nicely if we can have some nice sunny weather for the weekend. So it's a very nice place to visit as well, CHAMPERY. Well, that will be far from the minds of the two teams out there. We are watching Team Magnus Ramsfjell from Norway, and they are playing Team Yves Stocker from Switzerland. It is the Norwegians who are having the happier game out there at the moment. But the Swiss, better stuff from them in the fourth end. They might be feeling a bit of déjà vu, Yves Stocker's team. They got to this place in the competition, they got to this stage last year, and they lost that semi-final to the eventual winners, who were also from Norway, and that was Team Stefan Wallstadt. Vanessa wants to know about the other semi-final. They are also halfway through, Vanessa, and that was another blank end. And that means the score after 4 ends, Team Niemann from Sweden against Team Kluskens of Netherlands. It is still 2-0 to Niemann. And yeah, a bit unusual. Normally the Dutch boys have tons of stones in play. But conservative stuff over there.
Kom litt på utsiden her. Ja. Du på 10-line, så må du komme midt på 12 før den synlig derfra. Kom bare rett ut av åpningen her. Ja. Så rett bak 10-line, eller? Ja.
And this fifth end out of 8, it is the Norwegians who have last stone. And the Swiss throwing up a double centre guard there. They've kind of got no choice but to stay on the aggressive from here on.
Bis ganz rein, dass die Distanz ein bisschen grösser ist, oder? Ja. Dann hat er noch die Schirmmöglichkeiten.
Was ist der Gedanke hinter dem? Dass wir nochmal, wenn sie die zwei Lüpfen nochmal eine Garten machen.
Das können wir auch, wenn wir vorne schießen, dann haben wir immer einen guten Shot, oder?
Ja. Halb 4, ganz 4.
Ja. Muss ein guter Shot sein.
Ja.
Sounds like they're wondering if Norway will simply remove both stones, both guards with their next stone. The double guard may be a little bit too close together. But aiming to go in behind the pair of them. I think this is the right call. Keep Norway busy here in the centre. But, oh dear. Simon not having his best game this morning. Definitely a stone through the back is no use to the Swiss though, so better short than long for a plan B. But again, the Swiss really need to tighten up this shot making if they're going to overcome this game now. And indeed, exactly as they were discussing, Norway goes ahead and removes a pair of those guards, but still stones out front to play with. And Eve Stocker calling for another guard. This is the right idea. Just keep Norway busy in the centre, keep Norway busy with guards. See if you can get a bit of a half shot from them. Maybe hit a guard at the wrong angle and then sink another one in behind. And that's dropped exactly level with that red. So could be that another big throw from Bendik Ramsfjell. We might see those two disappear. And maybe not quite as well known, this Norwegian team, Ramsfjell, not quite as well known as Stefan Wallerstad. It was Stefan's team representing Norway at the Olympics. But as we said at the beginning, Magnus Ramsfjell's team, they just quietly go about winning a lot. Very awkward to get past this team. Oh, and that is now a bit of a mistake from Norway. They were trying to remove a couple of guards, but not quite catching enough of that stone, and hopefully that's exactly the little half shot that the Swiss were waiting for. You can see now they've got a whole bunch of stones out there out front. And now is the time to sink a stone in behind all of them and start putting a bit of pressure on Norway. first throw in this fifth end for the most popular man in curling, Yves Stocker. And we can see another of the Stocker army out there this morning, Daniel R. He says, "Let's go, Stocker, love you." So indeed, now would be the time to do that. Nice throw from the big man. How much can we see? Really nice stuff there. Really buried in behind it. And this is what we need to see. We need to make Norway's life a bit more difficult. Oh gosh, that is nice, isn't it? Oof. Well, it looks like Curling God is flying his Norwegian flag this morning, doesn't it? But, yep, same again. Big smile from Magnus Ramsfjell. I'm not surprised. That was a lovely throw from Martin Sesacker. But the Swiss need to stick to their task here. There are reds building up around. But they are starting to run out of ends a little bit, the Swiss, and they need to stick to their task and play the same again. Don't let these fancy shots put them off. And I can see Kimberly and Jin Yuang also in the chat. Also enjoying Gade curling this Sunday morning and not quite finding the length with that second throw from Yves in this fifth end. Stocker's team undefeated so far in this competition. Ramsfjell just losing one game in the round robin, and that was to young team Ribotta from Italy in an extra end even. But gosh, they are really battering the Swiss this morning. Those two reds on the right of our screen, the two just in the 12 foot, that was the two stones thrown up by Gaute Nebstad. And that was very deliberate from Ramsfjell to just leave those two lying around. And we could see those two reds on the right of our screen. We could see those bringing a lot of pressure on these final stones. Yeah, everyone looking like they're not quite sure what to do out there. The Swiss just back from 4 weeks in Canada, where they had a competition every weekend actually. So it could be that they're maybe running out of gas slightly. It's been an intensive 4 weeks and a lot of travel. Typically aggressive call then. They're really going for broke now, the Swiss. And just depending on Jan Hess to sink a stone right in behind that centre guard. And hope that that's good enough to force a mistake from Norway. And nothing wrong with this shot. Jan Hess will back himself to get it right. So he needs it to sink all the way in behind, bury it in behind that red. It's got a way to curl yet. Well, that's not quite what they were after, but maybe that's a good practice throw for stone number 8. Oh, Emmanuel, part of the Stroker army as well. Saying he's playing a strong game as usual, and they never run out of gas. That's good to hear. There's superfan Michaela as well. She's just back from her Saturday league. Very committed fan here in the virtual club is Michaela. But still advantage Norway a bit in our featured semi-final here. Magnus Ramsfjell, I don't even think he's played a half shot yet. And unfortunately, if you're Swiss, that's another delightful throw for Magnus Ramsfjell. And oh boy, Jan, this better be good. Yeah, they're determined to go in the anti-clockwise handle. Not interested in the clockwise handle. He's just thrown this shot. We saw it coming up a little bit short, but he will make an adjustment for this. This does look like the more difficult handle, but they're discussing just what happened with previous stones. I think this looks a little bit easier. I think there's more to, the angles are nicer. There's more that you can hide behind going on this clockwise handle. So, right, good luck, Jan. Otherwise, it could be a bit of an early lunch for everyone out there. The sweepers immediately ready. Oh gosh. Oh no. I thought that was, he was aiming for the red itself, but it looks like he was just going for the dead draw there on the clockwise handle and shooting past everything. And the Norwegians, they probably can't believe they've got such a good chance as this. Bima saying that Stalker's team, they've got gas to go all the way back to Canada. You're right, yes, they are returning to Canada for more competition. And Johan also showing support. There's only one Eve Stalker, you are quite right, but unfortunately there are 5 Norwegian points. Look at that, oh dear. But superb stuff from the Norwegians. They are surely within the finish line of the semi-final. I know they will be professional as always, but yeah, they surely have 1 foot in the final game already at 12:30 European. And again, what a great end they played in the 5th, just quietly piling red stones in. They knew the Swiss had to play aggressive. They had no choice really but to go flat out aggressive, and goodness me, did that pay off for them. A huge score of 5, and that means the score in our featured semi-final, it is Magnus Ramsfjell's team from Norway 9, Eve Stocker 2. Phew, so if you're just joining us for the latter part of this semi-final here at Curling Masters in CHAMPERY, I think it looks like we may be seeing a similar sort of finish from Stocker as we saw from the Italian boys last night, realising that this game is surely beyond them, and just making sure that they can have a nice clean finish. I don't see them picking up 7 points against this Norwegian team. So Youngglass also still reeling a bit from that huge score of 5 for Norway that have all but qualified them for the final. And, well, if only we'd thought of that a bit earlier. Norway finally making a mistake. Dagfinn Loen says, stärkt. So, still winning the most popular man in curling competition by quite some margin. But I think not looking so good to win this game this morning, but the army never gives up. Johan saying nothing's impossible for Stocker. Emmanuel, you do need the curling messiah out now. And Daniel also supporting the Swiss team. So gold star, absolutely, for the Stocker army this morning. Very loyal, very committed. And definitely winning still the most popular man in curling. But it looks like it's going to be the Norwegians winning this semi-final. As we saw with the young Italians last night, no coming back from a huge score of 5 for the Norwegians. And in my opinion, this is the elegant thing to do, just to finish clean, make sure you can score 1 point in what will surely be the final end of our semi-final here. Well, of course, not the only game out there. There is another semi-final. Very tight affair. And you may have noticed on the left side of your screen, viewer, that Wouter Christian's team Very patient, very aggressive. Look at that. In the fifth end, they put up a big score of 3, and that really changes the complexion of that game over there. It is Fredrik Niemann of Sweden 2, Valter Kruskins 3. So not sure who will be the second team qualified for the final. It is looking a lot like there will be one Norwegian team in the final. Ooh, Michaela suggests that maybe Yves could be in the next curling calendar as the most popular man in curling. What a thought. He could be Mr. March all the way through to Mr. September. I think Yves thinking more about his lunch now, potentially, and just overthrowing that a little bit. Joel asking if there's any chance of scooting over to the other rink. I'm going to check for you, Joel. Hold on. And yet another nice throw from Norway there. They're really twisting the knife a little bit. And Joel, unfortunately, the cameras are only on sheet E over here, so unfortunately we can't go across to the other semi-final. You can keep eyes on the score though if you go to worldcurlingtour.org. You can find all the scores from this competition, worldcurlingtour.org, and you can have the line score up for that second semi-final, Niemann against Kruskins. A bit of an insurance shot from the Swiss there. And golly, MVP in front of us there, Magnus Ramsfjell. I don't think he's missed a shot this whole game. Definitely looking to emulate their compatriots Stefan Wallstad's team, winners here last year. And poor old Yves Stocker's team will be getting completely sick of getting dumped out of this competition by Norwegians in the semi-final. Emmanuel says, I need a Stocker only all year calendar. I agree with you, Emmanuel. All Stocker all the time. That's what we need. I think this shot makes sense. Again, we're just seeing a tidy finish here, an elegant finish to their game. We play 6 ends minimum in the semi-final, even though this game is beyond them. We're just looking for a tidy finish, and I think to give Jan Hess the best chance to score 1 point with his final throw, I think this makes sense. Just clear out this red, maybe leave the yellow hanging around. So Not quite making the huge across the house double, but plenty of space for Jan Hesse's final shot.
Ok, da får jeg en dobbel for 2 da. Den toer. Slå den bak der da.
So they'll be disappointed with this game, the Swiss. And certainly, I know they can play better, but hats off to Norway. What a performance from them. We saw a really strong performance from Husken's team, the Dutch boys last night. We've seen a really strong performance from the Norwegian boys this morning. They have surely booked their place in the final. One shot to come from Jan Hess. Before this game is surely wrapping up, you may have noticed over on the other semi-final, Neyman's team from Sweden, they picked up just a 1 there in their 6th end. So pretty tight over there, so keep watching on worldcurlingtour.org. Nice clean finish from Jan Hess, score of 1 in the 6th end, but unfortunately for Stokker's team, outplayed by what a performance from the Norwegians, all 4 of them hardly missing a stone, apart from 1 miss in that last 6th end there. But congratulations to the Norwegians. We will have a team from Norway in the final again here in CHAMPERY. Yeah, congratulations all round. That was a super performance from them. The Swiss looking a little bit bewildered. There was a bit of a bashing this morning, but congratulations to Norway, our first team qualified for the final. That is at 12:30 European. Who knows who their opposition will be? You can see the orange in the background there on their 7th end. It is 3 each over in our other semi-final. Keep your eyes on worldcurlingtour.org to see who will be joining them. We will be back at 12:30 with Team Ramsfjell versus either Team Huskens or Team Neyman of Sweden. Join us then. Thanks for your company. Bye for now.